The snow fell quiet, but the air felt wrong. Not cold, but empty. Daniel watched the tree lights flicker. Every Christmas Eve he felt it. A presence. Not jolly. Not human. It started small. A misplaced ornament. A shadow too deep in the hallway. Daniel lived alone, but he knew he wasn't the only one in the house. He saw the marks on the frost outside his window, three-toed, unnaturally long. The spirit didn't want carols. It wanted a memory. He remembered the old story his grandmother told him. A Christmas curse, a thing banished to the winter woods, trapped by the cheer it couldn't touch. But the cheer was gone now. Daniel's cheer was a fragile lie. He found a broken toy, a small tin soldier he hadn't seen since childhood. The spirit was getting closer. It was using his own past against him. The house went completely dark. The only light was the red glow from the fireplace. Daniel stood his ground. He didn't run. "What do you want?" he whispered. A voice, like wind through dry bones, answered. "The gift of forgetting." The spirit wasn't a monster. It was a hungry void feeding on happy memories. It wasn't hatred, it was pure, cold absence. Daniel realized the spirit would take everything. His successful beginning, his life. He closed his eyes and forced himself to remember one perfect Christmas morning, the sound of laughter. He held on to that warmth, a shield. The void screamed, a sound of starving disappointment. And then it retreated, back into the quiet snow. Daniel survived, a memory guardian. The house was cold, but the flicker in the tree lights was real again. He understood now. The only thing that could kill the Christmas spirit. That wasn't human was true human joy. Caleb barely slept after that night. And when he did, his dreams felt crowded, like something else was inside them watching through his eyes. Morning light made the house seem normal. But the feeling never left. The Christmas tree stood exactly where it always had, quiet and harmless, yet Caleb avoided looking at it directly, afraid it might breathe again. His parents moved around the house like usual, laughing and talking about Christmas plans, unaware of the cold weight pressing on Caleb's chest. He tried to tell himself it was just fear, just his imagination, until he noticed the small changes. The ornaments no longer reflected the room correctly. When he walked past them, his reflection lagged behind, smiling a moment too late. He touched one ornament and felt warmth instead of cold glass, like skin that had been sitting near a fire. He pulled his hand away fast, his heart racing. Throughout the day, strange things kept happening. Christmas music played softly from the living room even when the radio was off. Footprints appeared in the thin layer of snow outside the house, circling the windows and stopping at the front door, but never leading away. Caleb stayed in his room as much as possible, counting the hours until night, dreading midnight without knowing why. As evening came, the house grew quieter than it should have, like sound itself was being swallowed. At 11:50 p.m., Caleb heard the low hum again, faint but familiar, drifting through the vents. He locked his door and sat on his bed, staring at the clock as the seconds ticked by. When the clock hit 12:00, the hum grew louder, vibrating the walls. The Christmas lights downstairs turned on by themselves, glowing so bright the light leaked under his bedroom door. Caleb held his breath as slow footsteps climbed the stairs, each step heavy and careful, like something learning how stairs worked. The footsteps stopped outside his door. A soft knock followed, gentle and polite. Caleb didn't move. The knock came again, followed by a voice that sounded almost kind, telling him it was lonely, telling him it only wanted to finish what it started. Caleb covered his ears, but the voice slid through his thoughts, showing him images of past Christmases, twisting them into something sharp and painful. The door creaked open even though it was locked, bending inward like the wood had grown soft. Shadows poured into the room, stretching across the floor, climbing the walls. In the center of the shadow, something stood up straight, taller than the door frame, shaped like a person but wrong in every detail. Its face shifted constantly, pulling pieces of familiar smiles from Caleb's memories and arranging them badly. It told him it was the Christmas spirit, born from belief, fed by tradition, Growing stronger every year, people celebrated without question. It said it wasn't human and never had been, that it wore joy like a costume to get close. Caleb screamed and threw his desk lamp at it. The lamp passed straight through, shattering against the wall behind. The creature laughed softly, a sound like breaking ice. It reached toward Caleb, and where its fingers brushed the air, frost formed instantly. Caleb ran past it, the cold burning his skin, and bolted down the stairs. The living room lights were blinding now, the tree towering unnaturally tall, its branches stretching across the ceiling like ribs. The star on top pulsed violently, cracking the ceiling above it. The creature followed, moving without walking, gliding smoothly as if the floor didn't exist. Caleb grabbed a glass ornament from the tree and smashed it against the fireplace, the sound sharp and loud. For a moment, the humming stopped. The creature recoiled, hissing softly, its form flickering like a bad image on a screen. Caleb realized it hated broken belief, hated when the decorations were destroyed. He began tearing ornaments from the tree, smashing them one by one, shouting that he didn't believe anymore. The tree shook violently, needles falling like rain. The creature screamed, its voice splitting into many voices at once, echoing through the house. The lights exploded, plunging everything into darkness. Caleb collapsed on the floor, gasping for air. When the lights returned, the tree looked normal again, smaller, weaker. The creature was gone. Christmas morning arrived quietly. The house looked untouched, except for the broken ornaments scattered across the floor. His parents blamed faulty wiring and stress. Caleb didn't argue. He thought it was over. But when he stepped outside later that day, he saw something carved deep into the snow at the edge of the yard, letters perfectly shaped, waiting for him to read. You can break the decorations, but not the door.